All right, you are checking out an all new the RCWR Show. Your host right here, Lee Sanders. Come on, come all. Stay for a little while. You are checking out episode 621, dropping at you guys, covering all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. I want to thank those of you that's checking us out right now. All right, man. We got us a loaded show, man, too. I mean, my God, so much to dive into. Roller coaster emotional week just really kicking off with Monday, but we'll definitely dive into all of that in just a little bit. Do hope you guys have had a fantastic week so far as we're getting ready to hit hump week. I gotta say, mine was pretty damn good, man. Honestly, I had got a little bit burned out, I would say, right before the weekend had hit, and it kind of affected our Patreon members a little bit as far as content goes. As 2 weeks ago, and we kind of talked about this last week and we kind of talked about it the week before, but in case you guys maybe don't know, because I know there were those of you that had checked out the initial webcast that we did last Tuesday, right? So true story. You guys won't believe this. Okay, so remember last week we had the internal 500 error code that was going on with YouTube, and it basically had affected all YouTube creators, myself included. It went down for like about maybe, I would say, an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour. Okay, well, that had affected us to the point that I just could not get on YouTube for nothing. So we ended up doing the stream on Twitch. And then we did like we normally do with Spreaker and then the RCWR Show app available in the Google Play Store for free. So after the broadcast is over, I'm editing the audio, and then like the people that had checked out the Twitch stream, not near one person had said, "Oh, Lee, the stream, it's lagging. Oh my God, there's serious issue, man." Like nobody said anything. So luckily, I go back and I look at the Twitch stream and I'm going, "Oh my God, this is like serious lag. It's freezing like a motherfucker. The voice is not syncing up to the video. What the hell? Like there's no way this is gonna slide." And this was basically recorded for the Fight TV premiere. So it was, oh my God. And I had already worked with these guys, or rather, they worked with me in trying to figure out, okay, obviously Thursdays isn't going to work. Okay, let's go back to the drawing table. Well, what can we do now? And it's like, can I get Friday instead? Can you guys let me air Friday instead? That way I have all the time that I need to edit the video, and if there's any hiccups, any lagging or whatever I need to do to fix it, I'll be able to fix it, and you guys will get your content ahead of time. So I see that there's serious video lag for the Twitch stream. So I ended up recording. The audio was fine. The original audio that was released, that's fine. That is still out there if you guys didn't check out last week's show. But the webcasts, the stream quality sucked. So I went back to the drawing board and I recorded a second web stream for the sole purpose of giving that to Fight TV guys, right? So I get done with that broadcast. I'm going, okay, great. That was actually an hour and 44, right? And like once the show is over, I see that the YouTube video, it's processing, because this go around I say bump OBS, I just ditch OBS and I say let me just go right into the back end of YouTube and I'll just go the old traditional way like I used to do it. So we pumped out an hour and 44 minutes. It's done. YouTube says processing. I'm going, okay, I got a little bit of time to kill, no problem. Come on back about an hour later, it's still processing. I'm going, wait a minute, this has never taken this long to render something in YouTube's backend. Like, what the hell's going on? Okay, whatever. So another hour passes, and then another hour passes. And long story short, I pretty much go up into about 7 in the morning Wednesday. And keep in mind that I had to go to work that day. So it's 7 in the morning. I've yet to sleep yet. I've got like 90 minutes to go until I've got to begin my commute to work. And I just called my boss. I said, look, I'm going to be running a little bit late. I'm behind on a couple of side projects, but I'll probably be an hour or so late, but I'm definitely coming in. So I get with my guys at Fight TV and I say, look, here's what's going on. Like, we got affected by the YouTube thing. I know we're supposed to be premiering Thursday, but like honestly, if it's going to be this tedious for me to do rendering and all that, I really would just prefer going on ahead and just having the show air on Fridays. So they're like, okay, that's no problem. We totally get that whole YouTube deal. No problem. Yeah, go ahead. No problem. We can go ahead. We can put you in Fridays. Okay. So that's done. The YouTube video is still processing. So, like, almost 24 hours go by since that 1 hour, 44-minute recording was done. Still processing. I'm going flying and I'm like, what the hell? So, a third time, I went on ahead and I recorded something. I've got YouTube. I reach out to their customer support, and it was no help whatsoever, right? So recorded it again, and that third time that went through successfully. So I hurried up, made all my edits and everything, sent that off to the Fight TV guys, and that's it. Now, if you notice last week's episode, it's not on the YouTube channel, the web stream. It's not on the YouTube channel because I just kept going through headache after headache after headache. I just said, you know what, just forget it. So if you guys were looking for last week's show, there was a show. If you prefer to see me in the flesh, well, Fight TV actually has it, right? So I'm just so glad that that's over and done with. Okay. So on a bright note, two things that I did learn tremendously, which was, and I'm going to start implementing it on future episodes of the RCWR show. If there's one thing that I learned that was a positive, was even though I did the webcast 3 times, I learned a great deal about improv. It was almost kind of like rehearsing. And I was kind of taken back to when I was in junior high and high school and I was reading plays. Like at one point, I actually was Romeo. I performed as Romeo in a very, very short, probably like 30-minute play that we did of key scenes from Romeo and Juliet that we did in my, I want to say I was in my freshman year in high school. Memory's a little fuzz right now. It was either freshman year of high school or maybe it was my last year in junior high. I can't really recall, but I remember how I used to read different parts over the years for plays. And then when I got into high school and we were reading Macbeth, Othello, and we would play certain characters as we're reading the book and we would reenact the scenes and everything. And I just remember how awesome it was to sit down and just rehearse those lines, power through them and everything. So I did like the positive as far as, okay, well, I've already rehearsed this before. Well, not really rehearsed, but you know how I try to do the show. I try to do the show with just bullet points and then just go in and have fun. But this was just the repetitiveness of it, right? Having an idea already on what I'm going to talk about. It was a different show the 3 times I recorded. So much so that if you just take the original recording that was like 2 hours and maybe 10 minutes, the original stream, and you compare it to what ended up being the 1 hour 44-minute and then the one that ultimately went to Fight TV, it was like a totally different experience. So I'm going to try to see if I can implement a little something as far as just maybe sitting down an hour before the show and just power through. Okay, it's one thing if I gather up the news, but like to actually just sit there and like really just marinate on the bullet points that's at hand, because that's something I've never done in the show history before. The second thing that really came out of it that was also a positive is the fact that with regards to Fight TV, we're now on Fight TV finally. So if you go over there, I got to start making sure I put a link in the episode description. But if you go to the Fight TV website, all you got to do is just type in RCWR Show and I'll pop up that way, and do bookmark that and check it out, because there's going to be some really cool, exciting content that's going to be coming that way, exclusive content that you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. It's kind of our way of saying, hey, Fight TV audience, hey, what's going on with you, So interesting. But yeah, I was burned out from all of that crap that had went down, just figuring all of that out, because I had been having video rendering issues the past 2 weeks and trying to get content ready for Fight TV. So I sadly was not able to focus on any Patreon content the past 2 weeks. And so luckily there was a retreat that had came up, and my girl was like, "Hey, I got to go do this conference thing at this retreat. Do you want to tag along?" And it's like, "Oh, hell yeah, yeah, of course I want to tag along." At least that's how the initial conversation went, like several weeks back. And she reminded me this week, "Hey, don't forget we're doing the retreat this weekend." I'm like, "Oh, really?" So I was able to get back, and I had a lot of rest, a lot of relaxation. And for your Patreon members, you'll actually hear a new Wrestling with the Topics with me and Tammy, as we had talked about that whole road trip experience. It was awesome. So, I mean, another positive thing that I got done from just the rest and relaxation. I know I shouldn't have been recording anything, but I was just in this position where I caught up on a lot of rest. I was able to recharge my batteries, and just a spur of the moment, I just felt like recording stuff. So I hammered out a couple of episodes of 30 with Lee. And then while I was still in that mindset, I get my girl and I say, "Hey, can we go ahead and record a new Wrestling with the Topics?" So we pumped out another Wrestling with the Topics. So we were out there in PA, and PA, the first day that we were there, weather was pretty solid. It was pleasant, but it wasn't warm. It was pleasant to the point that you needed a sweater for sure. But, like, when we got into Saturday morning, we actually had got snow because where we stayed at, it was at a resort and we were up in the mountains. So we actually had got snow. We probably had got about, I would say, it was mainly a dusting to about almost an inch of snow. And I just remember, like, just how cold it was that night. It was like, because we got there Friday, everything was good. But then actually, you know what? Forgive me, guys. Forgive me, guys. I got my days mixed up. We got there Friday and the weather was pleasant. But then Saturday, you definitely needed a sweater. And I remember it's coming back to me now because right before I went to bed Saturday night, I watched the news and they basically were talking about how a cold front was coming and it was going to bring a little bit of snow. So it was actually Sunday morning that we had got the snow. And I spent about a half hour taking off snow and all types of stuff off of the car, trying to get it ready and everything. And it was awesome. I tell you, the people out there in PA, they were just super freaking kind, super freaking friendly. It was very country like, and one thing that I had noticed out there in PA, a lot of hard working individuals, good, strong, hard working individuals. And another keen observation, I'll talk a little. We talked a lot more about this on Wrestling with the Topics, but one thing that was like really like, wow, that's very peculiar, was, and I'm still astounded by it, was the fact that with regards to their local news affiliates for Fox and I want to say ABC, they actually share the same news reporters. So like I'm watching the news on, I want to say Fox, or was it ABC? I want to say I was watching Fox first, and I see their weather girl. Her name is Mary Rs. That's Ours. She's a cutie. I see her. She's doing the weather and everything. And then I see the female reporter throughout the broadcast, short hair, blonde, white woman, glasses, kind of short blonde hair, little thick, little chunky, but in a good, healthy way. And so I'm noticing that she's fumbling through lines and a couple of miscues, things of that nature. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But then once that broadcast is over and I jump on over to ABC, I see that same female reporter again. And then Mary R's pops up again doing the weather. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, is this an encore? And it's like, no, it's ABC. Like, what the hell's going on? So I ended up looking up the weather girl on social media, and sure enough, her bio read that she does the weather for the ABC affiliate, blah blah blah. She does the call letters and for the Fox local affiliate, out there in PA. And she gave the initials, and I'm like, holy crap. And I remember I told the missus about it, and she was like, that is very odd. Like, I've never heard of that before. I said, no, I haven't heard anything like that before either. But like, I guess that's kind of cool, right? Because you're saving on money. Like, I think you're saving a ton of money by doing that. So we only saw, or at least I only saw, because she went to sleep kind of early. I only saw just those two that I can recall that pretty much were doing dual responsibility. It definitely, as far as who's covering sports and other topics, it kind of seemed government affairs, things of that nature, like they went to their own respected guy or woman for that station. But the weather girl and the main lead news reporter, there's only one reporter. It was definitely the same people. No, another thing I had noticed about the local news out there is the fact that every commercial break, like, it was very home base driven as far as the commercials went. It was very mom and pa-ish. Like, they showed a lot of love to the local mom and pop businesses. I would say out of 100%, 70% of the commercials I saw was dedicated towards local mom and pop businesses. Now, some people may say, well, that's no different from where I am, Lee. Well, over here in the DMV, we have a lot of commercialized stuff. The Papa John's. I mean, we got like the widespread stuff. So we don't really get that many mom and pop businesses. Probably the one that we mainly get is Bob's Furniture, because he only has like 3 locations in the DMV. But like stuff like that, Michael and Son, that's another one. But it was very like surreal to kind of see every single commercial. I'll give you one commercial and then we'll move on. Like, one commercial I remember seeing over the weekend, it had like this car dealership, right? You had like 3 generations of these guys, right? So you had an old man who's basically now the grandpa, and you had his son who looks like he's in his, I don't know, maybe late 30s, early 40s. And then in the middle, they have a kid that's like about 5 years old. Nasty Nate, DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia. Look it up, buddy. And you're like, oh, what the hell is this that they're plugging? So it's an automobile commercial. And so they cut in on the little boy as soon as the commercial begins. And the little boy says, uh, he says something like, "We got the prices." And you're like, oh, that's so cute. And then they keep plugging the car commercial and everything. They show you all these automobiles that you can buy from their local dealership and everything. And they come right back to the little boy, and he says something like, "Buy from my pap," or some crap like that. And you're like, what the hell? Right? And you're going, wow, that was really freaking cheesy. And then they show that same little boy about 40 seconds later. He's in a different commercial, same setup, but he's saying another quick little one liner or whatever. And you're like, wow, these commercials are so damn cheesy. But yeah, that was that. Rest, relaxation, caught up on channels that I haven't watched in a good minute, caught up on, in particular, Turner Classic Movies. I don't know the name of the Hispanic woman that was doing TMC on the weekends, like during the daytime, but it looks like they got rid of her. For those of you TCM buffs out there, you know exactly the girl that I'm talking about. She basically had won the right to become a host for TMC by winning a fan contest, if you guys remember. I don't know how long it's been since she's been gone. But I see they had got a pretty solid replacement for her. I actually like the replacement that they got for her. But I wish they could add a little bit more soul to the TCM lineup. Like, particular, I would love it if they could have a black host. I don't care if it's a male or if it's female, but I would love it if they could have a black host on there, particularly on weekends, that could just dedicate, if not the whole weekend, that could at least dedicate almost all day Saturday or the whole day Saturday to blaxploitation films. I think that would just be badass. Just let it be Urban Saturday. Great little thing. You could dub it around. And I think that would just be so badass, especially if you could have that guest sit in with other guests, like Mario Van Peebles. A lot of people forget he is a director. Yeah, he's known for a lot of stuff that he's acted in, but he's a hell of a director, right? But it would be great if they could do some type of a setup like that, But watch the AMC channel. Other than Walking Dead and Better Call Saul, I don't really watch AMC like that, but it was badass to watch it all weekend. And I'll tell you why. They had a Stephen King marathon. So, I mean, they showed all of the movies that were film adaptations from his novel. So I got to see Christine. I got to see Carrie, not that remake bullshit that they did some years back. I'm talking about the original, the one that had John Travolta in it, right? Saw that. The John Cusack movie. I always forget the name of that movie. I think it's 1408 or 1406. Him and Samuel Jackson. It was nice seeing that movie again. One that escaped me over the years because I'm a big Stephen King fan, and as a kid, I just remember growing up. My mom got me hooked on the novels, so when it had came around, me and my mom are just I just remember me and her having conversations left and right, and we were going over what did you think of the movie? You know, what about this scene? Well, remember in the book, did you think it really, you know? And I just remember me and her kind of bantering, going back and forth, you know, fun memories about that. But she was the one that got me onto Stephen King. And one movie that I never got a chance to see that I was able to watch over the weekend was Thomas Jane in The Mist. That's also a novel I did not get a chance to read. It was always on my list to check out. And I got to tell you, Thomas Jane, he pulled one riveting performance, a lot of range, especially like the last 15 minutes of the movie. I'm not going to give anything away, but the last 15 minutes of that movie, you talk about a man that just came undone. Whew, my God. What else did they show on there? I'm trying to think. Thinner. That's another one that I didn't get a chance to see. I love the story, but you know, after watching that movie for the first time, I didn't read the book, heard about it, but I never got a chance to pick up the book and read it. Saw the movie for the first time over the weekend, and the movie had a lot of potential to be like, I could just tell looking at the movie that the novel was really good. But for me, the movie definitely came up very, very short. It kind of seemed more comical than very dramatic. You know, it didn't have that Christine vibe. It didn't have that Cujo vibe. It didn't have that Carrie vibe to it. You know, and that's actually a movie I would love to see get redone, and hopefully they're going to do that. Of course, for those of you that are fans of that movie, The Shining, with Jack Nicholson, I'm not sure how many of you guys were aware of this, but Stephen King is actually he gave his blessing. They're actually doing a sequel to The Shining. So some years back, and I wasn't even aware of this, some years back, Stephen King actually had wrote a follow-up to The Shining. Uh, I believe it is called Doctor Sleep. And apparently, it's several years later after the tragic events that happened in The Shining. The little boy, he's now grown up, and apparently he won like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, right, for what all had happened, involving his parents and all that. But he is still dealing with the trauma that came from that whole ordeal. And apparently, yeah, they're doing a film adaptation of this, and it's like, whoa, like seriously, you guys are gonna, so like a lot of people are already going, man, is it possible that maybe Jack Nicholson could make some type of a cameo, even if it's as a different character? Is it possible he could make some type of a cameo? I tell you, one person who's not going to be able to do a cameo in that movie, Shelley Duvall. It's quite sad what's become of Shelley Duvall over the years. Her mental health has deteriorated at an alarming rate. She gave her first interview like within the past 10 years to Dr. Phil. This was probably about 2, maybe almost 3 years ago. So at that point, it was the first interview that she had given publicly in over 10 years. And this interview that she did with Dr. Phil, it made its rounds on social media. I'm not sure if you guys remember it, but to kind of jog you all's memory or get you guys caught up to speed, the interview was very alarming because you got a taste into how poor her mind was. She was saying a lot of things that just did not make any sense whatsoever. At one point, they had touched upon her former co-star from Popeye, the late Robin Williams, and she said to Dr. Phil that she did not believe that Robin Williams was deceased. She believed that Robin Williams had basically he was a shapeshifter and that he shapeshifted into somebody else. And it was a very odd, a very wild interview that made a lot of people frown at Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil was scrutinized tremendously for that episode because when you watch it, you're going, it's obvious this woman needs mental health. Why didn't Dr. Phil have the balls to say, I'm sorry, I just can't go through with this. There's no way we're going to be releasing this to the public. Well, I'll tell you the reason why, because he wants those ratings. That's what it was all about. He was more into the, hey, this will get people talking. The hell with, XYZ. It's going to get people talking. Oh, this is going to give us a ratings booster. I'm sure he probably had producers, executive producers, and all that left and right that were telling him, oh, no, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Trust us, it's going to be good. You're going to get the huge numbers. It's going to be huge, right? But it was like so freaking bad that the Art Actors Fund of America, they actually had got in contact with her to try to set up some type of services to get her some help. So yeah, she's definitely not going to be in that sequel. You can pretty much bank on that one. And while we're talking about horror flicks and all that, I have not gotten a chance to see Jamie Lee Curtis in the new Halloween movie yet. But shout out to her. I saw the tweet that she had put out right before the end of the weekend, and that's great. All of those significant milestones that she was able to accomplish. I mean, this movie, what is it that she had tweeted? I'm trying to remember the bullet points she said. She basically said uh, like best grossing movie for the month of October, uh, best strongest movie with a lead actor over 55 to like do tremendously well as this new Halloween movie is doing. Pretty much your main cast got like female leads. So I mean they were dominating from that standpoint as well. There's like 3, 4, 5 bullet points that she had made, and you're like, wow, this is great. And you hear that it's doing well in the box office, doing very well. So hopefully this coming weekend I'll be able to check it out. And when I do, I'll definitely give a review for that coming up. One movie that I am very excited about too, that I'm very excited about actually, is the Creed sequel, to see everything get kind of resolved with Ivan Drago and son. I'm pumped. I can't wait for that. I want to know what's going on with the Rocky Balboa character. Is he totally able to kick cancer's ass? What's going on with him? So I can't wait to see how that all is going to play out. But then the other movie that I'm very curious about, because I followed the life and career of him tremendously, isn't a day that goes by I don't think about the man. Of course, I'm talking about Bohemian Rhapsody. So I'm very curious how they did the story and telling the life of one Freddie Mercury, because if you remember, dude from Borat, he originally was attached to be Freddie Mercury, and they did do some filming stuff with him. But things broke down real quickly because he did not like the direction that the movie was going in, and he just really felt like they weren't being true to Freddie Mercury. And as a result of that, there was just so much clashing, and he rolled out afterwards. Now, some of you guys are going, man, the dude from Borat as Freddie Mercury, but like if you really, really look at him, you're kind of going, I can see that he can, but the fact that they went with dude from Mr. Robot, I mean, so that's a hell of a follow-up. But I'm very curious to see how they're going to be tackling his life, because a lot of people did not like the trailer. A lot of people shitted on the trailer. I didn't shit on the trailer. My whole deal was, man, you can only take but so much from the trailer. It was almost like the way people were just, oh, that's not. They're trying to say Freddie Mercury was straight. Why are they hiding behind the fact that he was gay? And there's only but so much you can see in a trailer. I'm sorry, but were you guys expecting for? I got to keep it clean for Fight TV, but like, were you guys expecting to see, I don't know, Freddie Mercury get pegged by another guy in a 30-second or 2-minute trailer? Like, like, were you expecting to see Freddie lure some guy in the restroom and, proceed to go down on him. Like, were you guys expecting that or something? Like, seriously, I think we all need to judge when we have the entire movie in our hands and we can just kick back and watch it and then comment on, okay, what did they get right, what did they get wrong, so that's going to be coming out in November. A lot of good stuff's going to be dropping in November. Did not see Venom yet. Nope. Question in the chat room, did not see Venom yet. Venom is just one of those movies, like, I looked at it and I said, okay, but it doesn't give me the I gotta jump out of my seat and I got to go to the theater and I got to see this. I mean, as far as 2018 goes, other than Avengers Infinity War, there was nothing else that made me say, I got to go to the theater and I got to see it. I will be going to see that movie, though, Creed 2, Bohemian Rhapsody. There's another movie with Breaking Bad's Bryan Cranston and what's that comedian's name? Oh my God, Kevin Hart. It's a very serious, dramatic movie, and Bryan Cranston is in a wheelchair. Nicole Kidman's in it. That looks like it's going to be a solid freaking movie. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets nominated for a couple of awards, maybe possibly including Best Picture. That looks like it's going to be pretty damn good. And then there's one other movie. What's the movie right now that's out that's got Common in it? And they're talking about the journey of that young black girl and the friend that she rode with, and they got pulled over by the cops. And it's based on a true story. That's another one that not only looks like it's going to be picking up a lot of good awards, it's definitely looking like that's going to be a tearjerker movie as well. So a lot of great stuff that we got here in the fall right now that's coming up. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. Hey, so one of the things I want to get into as we make our way to talking about all things wrestling and everything. We told you we cover all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond, man. I did not forget about the WWE Supercard. We'll get to that in a little bit for those of you that's like Supercard winners. We'll get to that in a little bit. So I did, during this nice time period of rest and relaxation, I did get a chance to check out some sports. One of the things that jump out at me off the break, Eli Manning and the New York Giants, they now fall 1-6. And I got to tell you, I got to do a Robert De Niro. Not good. Not good. A little bit not good, man. Seriously, all jokes to the side. What amazes me is that when I make my rounds and I see all of the guys on cable, local TV, and it comes to the talk of Eli Manning, everybody just gives Eli a pass. And it's like, I get it, man. I get it, right? That last name, Manning, everything that family has done for NFL, that last name carries weight. Dare not say anything negative about Eli. Dare not really go into town on Eli Manning, because it could be a career disaster for you. Any dreams or aspirations you may have had in sports broadcasting or what have you, dare not say anything negative about Eli Manning, because the hammer will come down on you. Now, granted, you have some podcasts, a lot of podcasts. You have other local AM, FM radio stations, some Sirius XM stations that will go to town on Eli. And that's great. I say keep it coming. Please keep it coming. But for me, I've been a fan of the NFL since, my God, 1984, 1985, right? Since I was a kid, little tiny little kid. I gotta tell you, I'm looking at Eli Manning. Can we all just be in agreement? Eli Manning, he really thrives when he's in a position where he has a strong supporting cast, like a Michael Strahan. Yeah. Odell Beckham is still extremely young. He is fiery, and when you do not discipline a young man like that steps out of line, and you just give him a pass because it's like, oh, well, at the end, as long as everything's justified by picking up the wins and everything, it's you don't reward bad behavior to what Odell Beckham Jr. has displayed these past couple of years by saying, I'm gonna give you even more money, even though you've been acting like a total piece of shit. I'm gonna give you more money. You don't do that. You just don't. And for me, looking at Eli Manning at one point used to have a really good, strong offensive team. There were actually good, strong leaders on the offensive side. There were good, strong leaders on the defense. And, a lot of times, from what I've been seeing this season, the Giants defense, they do their best. They may not be ranked in the top 10 as far as defense goes, best defensive teams allowing yardage, most yardage, yards, and all of that. They may not be in the top 10, but for the most part, I'll give the defense credit. The New York Giants defense does the very best that they can every time I've watched them to keep the game close. They do their very best. Offensively is where the problem is. And I'm looking at Eli Manning and I'm just going, when the hell is enough enough? Seriously. And I just couldn't help. I just couldn't help because I was very curious. I actually looked at Eli Manning's stats for over the years. And I was just amazed at what I had saw, right? I'm looking at the amount of games that he's played. I'm looking at how many attempts that he made out of his throws, the completions. I'm looking at the points. I'm looking at the yards. I'm looking at the touchdowns, interceptions, fumbles. I'm looking at all of that, right? And so I'm looking at this here, and I just want to share with you all some interesting stats here, okay? Let's home in on 2004, all right? 2004. He played 9 games. He completed 95 out of 197 attempts for a completion rate percentage of 48.2. He got about 1,000 plus yards, got about 6 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 2 fumbles. I home in on 2004 for a reason. Had a QBR rating, 0 to 100, right? 0, you crap. 100, you are beast. Had a QBR rating of 55.4. Now let's jump all the way to 2018. So far, Eli Manning has played 7 games, completed 185 passes out of 268 for a completion percentage rating of 69, has a total of 2,000 plus yards. Look at the TDs, 7, interceptions, 4, fumbles, 4. Quarterback rating, he's averaging 45.3. 45.3. Now, I don't know about you, but you guys have fun and you do the math. I mean, there's 3 instances here where I see Eli Manning just had like the drizzles of a year. Some would maybe want to give Eli a pass for 2004, but then I also look at the year 2013 when his QBR rating was 39.3. He completed 16 games. Completed 317 passes out of 551, had a completion percentage rating of 57.5, had 18 touchdowns, 27 interceptions, 4 fumbles, QBR rating of 39.3. Okay? Now just home in on what I just said for 2018. Home in on that one more time. What you want to home in on in particular is he's played 7 games so far. And as far as touchdowns go, he's only made 7. So you can almost say Eli Manning is only giving you a touchdown once per game. He, the quarterback himself, he's only giving you 1 touchdown per game. That doesn't sound right. 4 interceptions so far, so almost like every other game, he's giving you an interception, right? Fumbles, he's at 4. Okay, so almost every other game, he's giving you a fumble. That's just when you look at those stats, you can't help but immediately go to 2013, but most importantly, go to 2004. You would think that for as long as Eli Manning has been in the league, like, okay, you've been with this team, you've been in this system for this period of time. Surely, if anything, you're going to excel. You're going to go further, right? And I'm telling you, nothing infuriates me more than to see a quarterback like Eli Manning. And somebody tried to defend this guy to me the other day, and I'm just like, no, I'm not buying that, dude. But like every time, and what infuriates me is every time Eli Manning takes to the podium after a loss, now, gee willikers, oh gosh, yeah, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, he's got this dumb look on his face. He looks like freaking Gormer Powell. Well, golly, and I just want to, Eli, I just want to smack him in the face. I just want to go, Eli, get mad. Eli, get mad, get red, like do something. Say the F word, like do something. Like anybody else. You put Aaron Rodgers in there. You put Tom Brady in there. You put Big Ben in there, right? They're going to be mouthing off. They're going to be upset. They're going to show. And one of my friends was like, yeah, that sucks that he doesn't show any personality, especially loss after loss after loss. But that's what makes him so dangerous, because you can't really get a good read on him. You don't know what's affecting him. And since you really don't know, that makes him deadly on the field. I'm going, it's not deadly. That doesn't make him deadly on the field. Like, it doesn't help him when him and his team loses every single week. Like, how does that blank looking facial expression, how does that help him? Seriously, it doesn't. It doesn't. And look, they already benched him last year. So the whole streak thing, that's over with. You're now 1-6. 1-6. What is this? We're still in what, week 7 now or something like that? Or about to hit week 7? Like, at some point, you just got to go, what's next? When is enough enough? And I would like to believe that if they hit week 10 and they still have not picked up a W, you got to go on ahead. You got to bench Eli. Everybody's going, well, what do you do with Eli? Where do you send Eli? I don't care where you send him. I personally don't give a damn where you send him. Long as he's no longer with the Giants. That makes no sense that particular quarterback, he's starting to remind me of the situation in Cleveland Browns. What was the name of the quarterback that was playing for the Cleveland Browns right before, oh my God, what's his freaking name? Somebody help me out in the chat. Was it Johnny Manziel? Right before dude started playing for the Browns. Remember how that quarterback was a black quarterback? That black quarterback, like, there was nothing. The offense, there was nothing going. That energy was nothing but negative. I mean, it was like they had low energy. It was like they really did not want to play for him whatsoever. Baker Mayfield is who I'm thinking of, by the way. But the minute Baker Mayfield got on the field, oh my God. I mean, it was kind of like, ooh, he's coming in. Ooh, yeah, I'll take that shot right here. And it was like night and day. And I think what that offensive line needs right now is a strong, fresh shot of adrenaline. They need something fresh. They need something new. They need a shakeup. They need to play with somebody else. And I tell you, when I look at that offensive side for the Giants, I look at everybody else and I try to go, who's a leader? Who's going to grab the bull by the horns and rally their team on. Eli Manning is not that guy. You go across all of the other teams in the National Football League, and Eli Manning is the one guy, kind of like what they did with this past week's episode of The Walking Dead. And you had that girl who was on the walkie-talkie, and the guy was like, is it an A or a B? And you're looking at Eli Manning. Eli Manning is neither an A or a B. He is just, he's a D at this point. He's a D. And if it wasn't for the last name, I'd give him a freaking F as far as I was concerned. But he's a D right now. And I just don't see how these guys are going to be able to bounce back. I mean, even the rookie quarterbacks are having more of a phenomenal year than Eli Manning. That should say something to you guys right there. Also, we had the Lakers Houston Rockets game on Saturday night. I watched that. I was hammering down my drinks, and I'm looking at this game, and man, I tell you what, I did not like how everything had went down. I know about CP3 and Rondo's history. I know about all of that, but just the way everything had went down. I watched that bad boy frame for frame. Okay. So Saturday night, that was LeBron James' Lakers debut at the Staples Center. That was his debut. They lost and everything, but that fight that had came about. As far as the suspensions down, I don't exactly agree with that. Okay. So just to recap for you guys that aren't basketball fans, right? So you had a fight break out in the fourth quarter. It came down to CP3, Rondo, Brandon Ingram. All right. So basically, the way that this all had got set up, right? Brendan Haywood. No, not Brendan, not Brendan Haywood. Haywood, Beard, the Beard dude. You know what? I got to look up his name because I got to show that man some proper respect here. Let's say Rockets. I'll just say Haywood. I don't know why I was thinking Brendan Haywood, because that's the wrong guy. We don't want that guy. Who's the guy with the beard, man? Houston Rockets. Got a freaking long beard. Somebody in the chat. James Harden. That's who I'm thinking of. James Harden. So, we see like there was some type of a foul or something like that had went down, if my memory kind of serves me right. But like he gets shoved by Ingram. And Harden's looking at him like, what the hell? And he's looking at the referee like, ref, did you see that? Like, what the hell's going on? And at one point you see CP3, he kind of like walks up and Rondo kind of meets him, and maybe CP3 is saying something, Chris Paul, maybe he's saying something along the lines of, hey man, you need to get your guy in check or whatever. Rondo has a mouthpiece in his arm, and he's kind of pretending a mouthpiece in his little guard piece. He has it in his mouth. It's kind of to the side, and he's kind of acting like, and he just, but when you zoom in on it, doesn't look like anything happened, but when you zoom in, he actually does spit at Chris Paul. And Chris Paul is just furious at this, and he puts his finger all in Rondo's face. Rondo starts swinging. At this point, you got LeBron James, a couple of other people. They're trying to come, and they're actually trying to break up this fight. Now, go back to Brandon Ingram. Ingram, he pretty much was the one that like kind of got this pot boiling. He sees what's going on, and rather than him jump on in here, try to be freaking peacemaker and break the fight up, he just goes in and he just cold clocks Chris Paul, right? So pandemonium is just breaking out left and right. Rondo got a couple of punches in. Paul eventually gets a couple of punches in. All right, Adam Silver, as long as he's been the NBA commissioner, I've liked a lot of the things that he's implemented. I've liked a lot of the things that he's done for the league. I feel that he's really helped take it into that next. Let's admit, David Stern, he was good. David Stern was good, but I like what Adam Silver is doing. Adam Silver is taking basketball to that next level. And when I look at commissioners, when I look at who's doing it right, stretched across all of the sports, I would have to say Adam Silver is doing a fantastic job until what went down Saturday. So let me see if I got this straight. So you give my man CP3 a game suspension for 2 games, right? Rondo, you give him 3. Ingram, you give him 4. This is an insult. To me, as a longtime basketball fan, I grew up on the Jordans, the Magic Johnsons, right? I grew up on the Spurs, Tim Duncan and all that, all right? So I've seen worser fights than this play out on the field. I really have. I can say that. But to see this type of what I would describe as hood, this was hood type of fighting that was going on, right? These players are getting all of these millions of dollars, and most importantly, this is happening on prime time TV. Prime time TV, this is happening. And Adam Silver just slaps all of these guys on the wrist. It's okay. Like, no, that's not okay. You nip this in the bud. Look, as far as I'm concerned, CP3 getting the suspension for 2 games, I'm down with that. Really, I wouldn't have even suspended him. He was defending himself as far as I was concerned. But then one could make the argument, hey, all you had to do was just walk away, right? He could have just walked away. Okay, 2 games, I'm down with that. Ingram, he gets suspended for 4 games. I call that BS. The fact that he was way across the other side, basically, and he comes up running and he throws a damn fist, as far as I'm concerned, no, not 4 games. I would have suspended his ass for 20 games. Rondo, 3 games. Nah, I'm going to stick it to him really good. I'm going to give him 10 games. See, this is where I'm coming from. My mindset right now is you've got the president and you got his administration. You've got networks like Fox that are saying, oh, you basketball players, all you all have is nothing but low intellect. You guys are stupid. You guys should do nothing more but just stick to basketball. Just shut up and dribble. You know nothing about politics. You know nothing about what's going on in this world. Just shut up and dribble, right? When incidents like what went down on Saturday plays about, that feeds fuel into the president, networks like Fox News, and painting the narrative that they've already put out there about athletes. They're just good at throwing the ball. They're just good at their respective sport. They know nothing about politics. They're savage animals. Just give them a ball and watch them play. That's not my words. That's how some of them legitimately look at athletes. Okay? Low intellect. So for me to see how all of this had played about on Saturday night, I was deeply disappointed. And for Adam Silver to just slap, don't do that again. No. Send a powerful message. And you know what? You pull all of these guys individually. You talk to them on a conference phone or whatever like that, and you be like, hey, man, these troubled times that we're in right now, we got a lot more eyes on our product more than ever. We've got those in certain positions of authority in Congress, Senate, in the political spectrum that want to see you guys fail. And every single time you do something negative, it feeds into the narrative that they've been putting out there. So you know what? Anything you can do to diffuse that, to not give them any ammo, make it so. Go do charitable events, go feed the homeless, and donate your money, go do all of these great cool things, right? But no, this type of stuff, we're not having that. Not on my watch. And I'm telling you, if David Stern would have been still playing as the NBA commissioner, I think David Stern would have been a lot more freaking ruthless. I think he would have given the type of suspensions that I had mentioned. And shout out to Ebony in the chat. What's up, Eb? Street ball, street logic. Yeah, that's how I'm saying it. Mark Brown, Shaq. Yeah, Shaq. I miss Shaq. I miss freaking Shaq. James Harden. That's the guy I was thinking about, though. See, Washington Redskins taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Did that game ending controversy? No, as far as I'm concerned. I don't believe that game ended in, I'm kidding. No, I really do believe that game did end in controversy. I watched that play over and over and over and over again. And as long as I have been watching the Dallas Cowboys, I didn't know who the place kicker, the guy holding the ball. No, I didn't know who the hell that was until they mentioned his name on Sunday night. All I cared about was, is the extra point good? Is the field goal kick good? That's all I cared about. But now we're learning about this guy. We're learning how long he's been playing for the Dallas Cowboys. And as far as how many snaps this guy has done, and to hear something like this, I watched it over and over again. I saw that, and I'm talking about quarterback Cowboys LP Ladouceur. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that last name right. I have a feeling I'm butchering it, but I don't care right now. But no, let me make an interesting point of observation here with regards to that game, right? I think it's very interesting that Jonathan Allen of the Washington Redskins, he jumped off sides on the first field goal attempt, but he wasn't called for it. How about that? Just marinate on that for a little bit. But yet the Dallas Cowboys long snapper, field goal snapper, who did not move, right? And this isn't me talking as a Cowboys fan. Longtime listeners know I follow multiple teams. So it's not like, oh, you just have allegiance to. No, I follow multiple teams. I follow like 7 to 8 teams each year. Don't ask me to get into all the teams because that's like, I'm not doing all that, right? But like this snapper guy for the Cowboys, he snapped for over 400 field goal attempts for 14 years with the Cowboys. And now all of a sudden, we're gonna go with he moved the ball in a way where foul. Now look, I'm not saying Cowboys should have won that game, but if you ask me straight up, Lee, for the game to basically end that way, honestly, I think I don't know what the hell the referee was thinking. I don't know what the hell the referee thought he saw. But that game should have gone into overtime. I think of all of the most crappiest ways. I'm sorry, if I would have been a referee for that game, it would have had to been, okay, there's no way I can ignore this. That was definitely a blatant, I gotta call it. I would rather that than yeah, let me blow the whistle. No, don't think, no. So, yeah, that was just because I thought for sure that game was going to be going into overtime. And the only reason why I'm even talking about that game is because on the way back from PA, traffic was just, we thought like there was a serious car accident. And then I said to the missus, well, who's playing today? She's like, well, Washington's playing. I'm like, yeah, but like, who are they playing today? Like, aren't they playing the Cowboys? She goes, yeah, I think so. And I'm like, oh, well, the game is most likely at Atlanta, Maryland. It's most likely at the FedEx Stadium. And she's like, no, they should be out of town. I was like, no, they're supposed to be meeting twice. And I believe Dallas is coming to DC. Like, so I looked it up online. I'm like, yep, Redskins are playing today. And the traffic was just backed up for miles. I mean, we had like probably a 30-minute delay just for us to get through the traffic. I mean, luckily nobody was hurt or anything like that. But like when you are just sitting there in the traffic and you're like, what's going on here? What's going on? And then you realize, oh, everybody's going to the game. Because I asked her, I said, if you keep driving this way, doesn't this eventually take you to the Redskins? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, there's your problem. That's what's going on. So, but I do think it was controversy. I don't think the game should have ended like that. It should have been an overtime situation and sudden death, or if it's going to be a draw, then it's going to be a draw. But hey, it is what it is. Hey, right now, I want to take this time out. Thank those of you that's checking out this edition of the RCWR Show, episode number 621, covering all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You're enjoying the show so far. Make sure you throw the thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, do subscribe so you never miss out on all the great content that comes your way on a week-to-week basis. Can I give some shout-outs in the chat here? Shout out to Ebony. Shout out to Shaba. Shout out to Mark. Shout out to who else we got in the chat here, man? Who else we got in the chat here? Shaba, Mr. Loverman. Shaba, Mr. Loverman. Shaba. Who else we got in here? Shout out to Gino. Shout out to Austie, like Austie. Shout out to Austie. We'll get into some more shout outs later. Speaking of other shout outs, yes, Patreon members. I want to give a shout out to our Patreon members. Shout out to Anthony Missionary Thomas from Wrestling Soup. Shout out to the beautiful and the lovely Courtney Summers. Also, shout out to Joe Raymond Jr., Michael Wolf, and John Davis. Patreon.com/RCWR Show. Make sure you subscribe to that. Get access to great bonus and new content you're not going to be able to find anywhere else. You get access to our 30 with Lee series, reviewing movies and TV shows. You also got Wrestling with the Topics. That's hosted by me and the missus. Always a good time doing that show. And this weekend, pending that her ear infection will be okay, it should be Ebony and Tammy teaming up to do a special edition of the RCWR show. Going to be covering the WWE Evolution pay-per-view event. I may do a Evolution mini recap for Patreon. That will be just for our Patreons only. So if you guys, want to maybe check that out, I mean, $5, you get access to boatload of solid content all at your fingertips. Pretty soon we're going to be doing some really cool prize giveaways. That's going to be part for our Patreon family. $5. Everything starts off with $5. You get access to a bunch of great content. Best part about it, at the end of the month, you don't like what you had, you can easily just hit me up with a private message. I'll refund you. No problems. No questions asked. I'll just refund you. All right. But yeah, so we got the Evolution pay-per-view event coming up. I will be talking about that pay-per-view card in a little bit. See how we're doing on Showtime here. We're doing good on Showtime. I know we came on a little bit late. I'm seeing we got about an hour of Showtime in so far. Let's do this. Let's go on ahead because I was supposed to announce it earlier. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get into it now. And I'm going to announce the winners for the WWE Supercard QR Code contest. Try saying that 10 times fast. 10 times fast. The WWE Supercard QR Code. So if you guys missed it, right? And this really had to do with new subscribers, new people, right? So it was funny because I saw a couple of people that I know damn well I have seen pop up in the chat on the shows months upon months upon months, and like they were coming around. See, Lee, look, I did it too. And it's kind of like, you don't count, buddy. This is for new people only. Okay, so the rules were simple. Basically, all you had to do was look at my pinned tweet. And my pinned tweet on Twitter at the RCWR Show, give me a follow on there. Basically, I show an image of the Charlotte, Ric Flair, WWE Supercard. They're cards, right? And the AJ Styles one. And I basically said, retweet this post, give me a follow, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Show me an image, hit me up, let me know you did all that. You're entered. You'd be surprised how many people did not follow the instructions. I had people that were like, dude, $5 now. And I'm thinking to myself, if I wanted to sell this, first of all, genius, I can hop on eBay and I can command $75 to over $100 because that's what everybody else was asking for. And everybody else was successfully getting that money. So it's like, if I want money, it's like, what the hell? It's like, I'm damn sure ain't going to sell it for $5. Like, get that out of here. But that was funny. I enjoyed that hearty chuckle. So we had all that going on. And I'm going, okay, so what else we got going on here? And then if people weren't like coming at me with that, people were literally begging me for the QR codes. People were like, can't you just give it away? And it's kind of like, that's what I'm doing, Chief. Like, it's not costing you anything. Like, seriously. Like, but you'd be surprised how many people did not follow the simple instructions, to the point I even did a reiterate under the initial post. I had said, hey, make sure you're following the rules, because I'm going to be seeing who did what, and that's going to be the end of it. So, yeah, we had people that were not following the rules, sadly. So, Anyway, shout out to our two winners. I had already did the whole name generator thing and all that other silly little jazz. All right. So for the Charlotte and the Ric Flair code, I want to give a shout out to, let me pull it up in my notes here. I want to give a shout out to Timmy D. Shout out to you. I'm going to be hitting you up via YouTube and Twitter because I believe, yeah, I did double check. You are good. So shout out to you. I'll be hitting you up. Again, he got the Ric Flair and the Charlotte Flair QR code. And now for the main event for a lot of people, which is basically the AJ Styles QR code. Are you excited? And I've seen a lot of people since I like finally came around to playing WWE Supercard a lot more. I've seen a lot of people play as AJ Styles, and it is freaking ridiculous. And let me tell you something. If you get this AJ Styles QR code, do me a huge favor. Don't just, because you're going to get two AJ Styles cards with this QR code, right? My recommendation, especially if you're a new gamer that's going to be getting this QR code, do everything in your power to max out both of these AJ Styles cards. And if it were me, I would not pro the cards. Now, some of you guys are probably saying, what the fuck is pros? Pros is basically when you, after you've maxed out your cards, you then have a decision to make. Are you going to combine the cards? If you combine the cards, then they get even more freaking stats, right? So basically, hypothetically speaking, let's say you max out a Ric Flair card that's like 150, right? You max out all his stats. He comes topping off at 150. Let's say you have another Ric Flair card, same card, right? You max that out to 150. Well, now you can combine those two cards, and that should roughly put you for sure over 300 and something, and then you'll have a cool little star that'll be somewhere around there. It'll either be a gold or a silver star, and that star basically represents that they are a pro card, right? So I would recommend to anybody that gets the AJ Styles card, max out all of the AJ Styles stats, then go on ahead, combine. All right. Am I taking that advice? No, because for me, some of the cards that I have, I feel that they're much stronger and give me a better chance of winning in WoW and other tournament matches and all that, as it's separate, at least until I can put myself in a position where, okay, if I combine these two cards, well, then who's going to replace, now that I'm combining, right? So you kind of got to think like that. I mean, to each its own, but that's how some of you guys got to do it. Shout out to Brian Nottingham. Brian Nottingham is the winner of the AJ Styles QR code. So again, shout out to Timmy D and shout out to Brian Nottingham. I will definitely be hitting you guys up once the show is in the books, and give you guys your QR codes, and definitely get at me. Let me know that it's working. Send me a private message or email. And for those of you that did not win this go round, please do me a favor. Just stay connected to me, man, because I'm going to be doing more cool giveaways very, very soon. One thing I can tell you that we're going to start doing, which I thought about it a couple of weeks ago, and I ran the idea by the missus, and she was like, that is a fucking solid idea. Do that. So, like, over the years, I've accumulated nice, cool wrestling memorabilia. And the wrestling memorabilia, like, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm actually looking at this right now. So here I have right here a 100% authentic Randy Orton signs, is basically from a little magazine article, and somebody waited for him at a arena. That's the story that I was told, and got Randy Orton to sign this for them. And I've been sitting on this for some years now, and I actually got surprised one year for my birthday. I actually got a autographed Randy Orton joint. Came with a certificate and everything, certificate of authenticity. And I've got like a situation where I have a lot of wrestling memorabilia, mostly photos, autographs, and all that hasn't been framed yet. One of these days, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get to it. But I've had wrestling memorabilia that just has been accumulating over the years. And then on top of that, I just got a subscription to Pro Wrestling Crate by Pro Wrestling Tees. And my girl was like, "What are you gonna do with some of that wrestling memorabilia that you don't want from that crate?" I'm like, "I don't know." She's like, "Well, we running out of space, so you might as well do a little, I don't know, you might as well do some giveaways or something." I said, "Damn." I said, "Okay, yeah, let's do that." So that's what's going to start happening. Once in a blue moon, I'm going to try to do something once a month, maybe twice a month. So we'll do something out in the open for you guys. And then we'll do something for Patreon members. I think we'll probably give like the really cool, sweet, like, oh my God, that is a real steal. And I think the way we'll have that set up is like, as long as you are a paying Patreon member, you know, you're just $5 tier, you're like automatically entered, and we'll do like a prize wall. I think that'd be really freaking cool, you know. And I think from that prize wall, maybe like the smallest item, maybe we'll go ahead and we'll like make that be available out in the open for everybody to get in on. I think that would be pretty good. I really would. And what the hell is going on here? Hey, Beyonce's Mega Man. Who said anything about hustling? This isn't about doing hustling. This is basically about giving recognition to the listeners that, you know, not only have been supporting the show for a significant period of time, but also have been able to take the time out and say, "Hey, man, yeah, I'll check out your content. I'll see what you're about. Yeah, you know, let's see what's going on." So, I mean, Beyonce's Mega Man, how you gonna come in, right? Do insults. Like, seriously, bro, like, stop with the negativity. If you're not about anything positive, then like, why come over here with that bull crap? It's like you throw insults and you want to talk about hustle and all that shit. Let me tell you something about hustle, man. I get my ass up every day to provide food on the table for my soon to be wife, my soon to be mother in law, and hopefully a kid that's going to be on the way. All right. I got 2 cars. I got a mortgage. I got not one full time job. I got a second full time job doing voiceovers, doing video editing, selling advertising spots. So, as far as I need money, I don't need money. I just came back from a great resort trip out in PA. So, I don't need the money. Now, if you ask me at the end of the day, am I doing this to, you know, try to help build up the brand a little bit more? Yeah, if I'm guilty of anything, I'm guilty of just trying to build up my brand a little bit more. Newsflash, every other fucking podcast and radio show that you listen to does the same damn thing with their contests. So how is that a crime? Somebody explain to me, how the hell is that a crime? Anybody in the chat, how the hell is that a crime? Last I checked, there's nothing wrong with doing something like that. So I am deeply offended and assaulted that I would have a knucklehead come into the chat room and want to talk about hustle. No, the only hustling I do is the hustling I'm doing, not just from my full-time job, but the jobs that I do for my clients and delivering their work on time. And my other side business, which I'm about to launch my LLC right about December. It's going to be a network, going to be bringing other shows on board. Already got a couple of guys waiting in the wings. They're just waiting on me to get the paperwork over and done with. So what the hell is this about? Like, what? It's like, how many subscribers you got, dude? How many followers you got? You know, like seriously. It's like, if you're gonna come at me with some BS like that, please, man, back up your shit. Back up your shit. Seriously. And I'm with Gino. Yeah, Beyonce's Mega Man. Let me tell you something. Beyonce's Mega Man, that dude was a fucking asshole. Like I think it was 2 months ago. Let me tell you something about Beyonce's Mega Man, because see, he ain't gonna like this, right? This dude rode my dick because I basically had, what was the show I had did, guys? There was an infamous episode I had set, the Bill Cosby joint. It was the Bill Cosby joint. That's what it was. I said what I said respectfully about Bill Cosby. And he wanted to come at me. He wanted to call me a stupid idiot and all that. And I said, dude, I said, treat people the way you want to be treated, man. Treat people with respect. I was like, even if we have varying opinions on a particular topic, that don't mean you're stupid. That don't mean I'm stupid. That means we just have a disagreement. And you know what? We just go on ahead. And with regards to that disagreement, like good, smart people in this society, we sit down, we hammer it out, we talk about our differences. And even if we don't see eye to eye, we walk away. It's like, you know what? I may not like some of the things that you said, but I feel where you're coming from, and vice versa, right? Long after this show is done, Beyonce's Mega Man emails me, still trying to get his point across and everything, talking about how he didn't like being muted out of the chat and all this other crap. And I read like the first 3 lines of his email. I didn't even open his email. Like, I just happened to be checking my inbox, and big bold black caps, I see I got a new email, and I read like the first couple of lines, and I just immediately replied to him. I said, my business email is not for you to rant and rave your point of view. Your point of view you could establish on the show, but you were a dick about it, so you got put in timeout. But you could still interact on the other social media outlets. So whatever point you wanted to make, you could have used those outlets. Don't email me, because my email is for business inquiries only. This ain't business. Oh, okay, I respect that. And like, I thought that was like the end of it. I thought that was the end of it. And now this knucklehead wants to come in here and he wants to, no, man, the only hustling I'm fucking doing is enjoying fucking life and not fucking living paycheck to paycheck. That's the fucking high that I'm on right now. That's the hustle that I'm on. I'm on that hustle about trying to be something positive and make an impact for my brothers and sisters that's out there that don't believe that they ain't never gonna be nothing. That's the hustle that I'm on. I'm all about promoting positivity, not putting down people. Choke on that. You know who else I want to just like with regards to nothing but positivity, especially like words of wisdom, encouragement, just thoughts with them right now? Roman Reigns. What an emotional Monday Night Raw that was. To see this guy, man, I'm watching Monday Night Raw. As always, I'm interacting with people on social media. And I'm like, okay, Raw's getting ready to kick off. It opens up and you see Roman Reigns come out. He's in his street clothes. I'm going, something doesn't look right. I don't usually see Roman Reigns in street clothes. This doesn't feel right. And I'm just jogging my memory as he's walking down the ramp, making his way to the ring. When was the last time I saw Roman Reigns in straight up street clothes? Not no Roman Reigns t-shirt, just regular civilian clothes inside of a WWE ring. When was the last time I saw something like that? Nah. Beyonce's Mega Man, too late, dude. Too late, dude. That would be like me saying, you mentally challenged motherfucker, I see what you doing. No. Take that bullshit elsewhere. Get out of here. You're kicked out. You're kicked out. You're out of here. Get out of here. You're out of here. You're out. I'm the Empire right now. You're out of here. Now I'm having fun. Now I see, sadly, when you piss me off, and Ebony will tell you, she's in the chat, when you piss me off and you get on my bad side, I am much worse than Thanos. You are on my ultimate shit list. For some people, hello, Mom, you're dead to me. You don't exist. I don't know you. Heaven forbid you get on that side. And Beyonce's Mega Man, that's the side that you are on now. So your opinion is irrelevant. From this moment on, within 10 seconds, and everybody count 10 seconds, after 10 seconds, Beyonce's Mega Man does not exist. Who? What? What? Who? Who? What was I just talking about? Wow. Wow. I don't- So Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns. You see him coming out, he's in his street clothes, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Like, I couldn't recall the last time, the last time I seen this man in street clothes. And I just got this weird vibe that like something weird was going on, like it was something bad, right? And contrary to how some people were like, oh, well, over the weekend, apparently, and I didn't notice because I was doing the whole retreat thing. So I really was just, I was not looking up wrestling news or anything. I was just off the grid on social media for most of the weekend. But apparently, there were rumblings that Roman Reigns is injured. Roman Reigns didn't work a house show. He's dealing with some type of an injury. Well, our sources said Roman Reigns, blah, blah, blah. And it's like nobody had anything definitive, right? So I don't hear any of this. Even as I'm getting ready to watch Raw, I still know nothing about these whole injury reports and all that. I didn't learn about all this until basically after he made his announcement and everything. But like my first gut instinct is something's not right. He doesn't look good. What the hell is going on here? And he gets the microphone and he just kind of has this somber look on his face. And it's like, damn, what the hell is going on with this dude? And then as soon as he gets to that part where he says, my name is Joe, I'm going, oh, snap. This is serious. What's going on? What happened? Is there a death in the I'm like, what's going on? The last thing on my mind was he's dealing with some type of health issue, like him personally. That was the last thing on my mind. And for him to announce that he got diagnosed with leukemia 11 years ago, and he basically fought it, he kicked its ass, and he basically was in remission. And, he thought he was done with it. And then for it to come back again, you're going, oh my God. And this was a Roman Reigns, but see, that's the thing. We got to get it separate. This wasn't Roman Reigns talking to us Monday night. This was Joe. This was the guy behind the character. That raw emotion, that guy behind that character, my heart just melted for that guy. Emotionally, I melted for that man. For years, and longtime listeners of the show can back me up on this, I've always supported Roman Reigns. That's the one thing that everybody could back me up on. I've always, no matter what, everybody says, oh, I hate Roman Reigns. I hate this about him. I hate that about. I've always been consistent. If I ever had anything negative to say about Roman Reigns, who's booking his promos? Remember the nursery rhyme Roman Reigns that we had got a couple of years back? You're like, what the hell? And then you had that great moment where it looked as though, all right, he's feuding with the authority. All right, it seems like it's going the right path. And then they took two steps back and he really wasn't able to recover from that sense. And it's like, damn, well, what? And so Roman has just back and forth with the crowd. A lot of mixed reactions. Some people love him, and you got those that just can't stand his guts, like the people that have how they feel with John Cena. And for me, looking at Roman Reigns, I always said that's a good looking kid. He's going to be a champion for multiple years to come, whether some of you all like it or not. You just got to learn to live with it. But he's going to be a multiple champion. He is going to be one of the faces for the company for years to come. And I've always put over his matches. I said, hey, out of 5 stars, for the most part, Roman Reigns will give you 3.5. Has a lot of 4s, but he'll mainly give you a 3.5 out of 5 every time he's in that ring. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Some people will say, oh, well, is it really him that's doing it, or does it have to do with his dance partner? And I say it's a combination of both. I think it's just whoever he's facing that's able to bring out what they're able to bring out of him and what he's able to bring out of them. It's a mutual thing. It's mutual, folks. But to hear him make that announcement about the leukemia, I mean, there's different stages of leukemia, right? So for one, you're going, well, what type of leukemia does he have? Like, what's the grade level of it? And the fact that it's back, usually much like with cancer, right? You're going, well, how aggressive is it this time around? Is he truly going to be able to fight this? Is he truly going to be able to kick its ass this go round? Right. And I just couldn't help but just I felt so like how you just take a safety pin and you just take the air out of a whoopee cushion or whatever, or out of a balloon without the balloon popping. You just kind of maybe go around towards the tip area and you just do a little tight little quick tap, little poke, and the air just comes out little by little. It just kind of felt something like that when he made that announcement. And it was in that moment, and that's why the show is titled the way that it's titled. It was in that moment that for as long as Roman Reigns has been on the main roster of the WWE, it was on this night that Roman Reigns finally won over the entire world. It was on this night that Roman Reigns finally won over the WWE universe, but at a price. And that price was, hey, his leukemia had returned. Now, I will have you know that there were people that were at this event, and numerous people had said that they had heard people that chanted, "You deserve it," as this man is pouring his heart out to the audience, those in attendance, those at home. He's pouring his heart out, letting people know what's going on with him. And you had some assholes in attendance that were saying, "You deserve it." Quickly died down, but the fact that they said, "You deserve it," just marinate on that for a second. I pray to God that these people that said these things that they said, I pray that they do not have a loved one that goes through that type of a battle that Roman Reigns has been having for the past 11 years. I pray to God that they do not have a loved one or loved ones in a situation where, because we aren't promised tomorrow. It ain't guaranteed. And the way that I've always tried to live my life within recent years, it's there's no tomorrow. Like, make the best out of the day. Whatever you could do that day, just one thing that is very positive and you're paying it forward, y- you know, you start thinking about, what are people going to say about me once I leave this world? You start thinking that way for sure. Once you're in your early mid 30s, you start thinking that. And it's always about paying it forward. It's always about trying to do the right thing, trying to pass on that power of positivity. Not to pull a quote from the New Day, but that's pretty much the direction you always try to go in, you know? And for me, I'm looking at these fucking people. I'm hearing about these people that said this, and it's like, I pray to God. I pray to God that you do not have a loved one that's in a similar situation like Roman Reigns. I pray to God that you don't get a situation where your loved one is driving home from work and they get into a major car accident and three people die. Tell you what, that's what happened to a friend of mine a couple of years ago. That's what happened. She said goodbye to her best friend. They went out and they had some dinner or whatnot. And, she went home. She went in one direction. The friend was supposed to go in another direction, but the friend decided she was going to make a detour and use another route instead. So the friend's actually up ahead, gets into a car accident, fucking drunk driver. Turns out the asshole shouldn't have been driving in the first place. The asshole was driving on a suspended license and was here in this country illegally. Now, with regards to the illegal status, I'm not going to make a big deal out of that. But the fact that somehow makes you wonder how the hell they were able to get a license. Yeah. But anyway, somehow somehow they were on a suspended license. They shouldn't have been driving. They were intoxicated. They had a rap sheet. They had a history of being intoxicated while driving before. You put 2 and 2 together on that one. I pray to God that these people that said what they said don't come into that same type of a situation, because karma is a serious bitch. That's all I gotta say. Karma is a serious bitch. But for Roman Reigns, I just couldn't help but feel bad for this guy, because it's like, God damn, dude, you're making your strides week in, week out. You're going in there. He's grinding it out. And like, I've had the pleasure over the years to interview people that either have worked in the business or currently are still involved in the business. And the best part for me when I get to talk to these people is having the side chatter before we go live on the air. And it's, hey, I always wanted to ask you, you worked with blah, 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 right? What can you tell me about him? What can you tell me about her? And the stuff that I'm able to learn. It's like, really? And when it comes to Roman Reigns, I've heard nothing but good things about Roman Reigns. Nothing but good things about Roman Reigns. I haven't heard anything negative about the guy that plays the Roman Reigns character. Nothing bad. So to see this guy, the business is in his blood, it's in his family, it traces down generations, and here he is trying to earn his opportunity, grinding it out, and at his peak. Now, just stop and marinate on that for a second. He's had his moments where he worked with the Brock Lesnars, he's worked with the Undertakers, he's worked with the Seth Rollins, the Triple H's and all that. He's worked with the John Cena's. He's worked with cats multiple times to ultimately put him in a position where not only is he the man, but he's the champion. And finally, you kind of have this weak-ass story arc with Brock Lesnar. He ain't really a fighting champion. He's not really here like that. He sucks. He's the worst Universal Champion ever. And it's kind of like, well, we've known this for some years now, but go ahead, continue. But Roman finally, he gets thrust into that position, and it's kind of like, well, it's better than Lesnar. And to hear that announcement on Monday night, I mean, the first thing I'm saying to myself is, nothing else matters, dude. Go home, take care of yourself, take care of your family, but take care of yourself, really. You first, and then your family. I don't know when we're going to see this guy again. And that's the thing. When it comes to having a diagnosis like that, it just depends on how well the treatment is going, and medication, and all of that. I don't even want to speculate how long it's going to be. But I tell you what, it was great seeing all of the wrestling federations, the wrestling industry as a whole. It was great seeing all of them just come together and just be like, Roman, nothing but love, nothing but thoughts and prayers with you. To even see New Japan Pro Wrestling show love to Roman, you're like, wow, that's powerful shit. That's awesome, you know? So I've never wavered on how I personally felt about Roman Reigns. I always felt that as a worker, hard worker. But you know what I saw of the man behind that Roman Reigns character on Monday night, I got to tell you, there's that selfish part of me that says, I like that guy. I want more of that guy on my TV every single week. I want more of that guy. You know why? Because that guy did not feel forced down my throat. That guy felt authentic. That guy felt like he wasn't reading no goddamn script. That guy felt like he was telling it like it is. His heart was on his sleeve. And let me tell you something, much like when I do this show every single week, and when some of my other fellow colleagues do their fucking show, when you wear your heart on your sleeve every single week, people gravitate towards that. People can detect bullshit just like that. And once they're able to detect bullshit, it's really hard to win them back over if you even had them in the first place. I want to see more of that Joe guy. I like that guy. That guy seems like the type of guy that I could honestly see myself hanging around with. I like that guy more. That if I had a kid and it was Joe and Roman Reigns side by side, I want my kid to hang out with Joe more than the Roman Reigns dude. And I tell you what went down last night with Joe, long term wise, that's going to be a beautiful thing for when he comes back as Roman Reigns, because everybody is going to be behind him. Everybody is going to want to see him pick up where he left off. And WWE has to be very delicate in how, if and when, let's stress that, if and when he does return, they need to be very delicate in how they handle that return and make sure it mirrors very close to the man behind the character. Because on October 22nd, 2018, the entire world fell in love with Joe, the man behind the Roman Reigns character. So, I mean, when he comes back, I mean, mega fucking baby face all the way, hands down, mega baby face, hands down. Also, on this monumental episode of Monday Night Raw, interesting developments, because as the Roman Reigns character exits, you're like, wow, that's a huge void for the mega baby face that was Roman Reigns. Okay, next man up. What are we going to get here? So interesting change of developments. I mean, the past 2 weeks, we've seen character developments go in a complete 180. And this week, very monumental, because you have Elias, who has basically now gone the babyface route. He's trying to play his acoustic set. Baron Corbin's like, nobody has time to hear you. We have more important things to go over. Stephanie McMahon appointed me, and look, Stephanie may like you and everything. That's the reason why you have your little acoustic sets. But if it was up to me, your ass would be fired. Has his microphone and his guitar turned off as he's trying to make whatever announcement he's trying to make. But then Elias just cold clocks him in the back of the head with his guitar. And you're like, wow. Like, Baron Corbin so far has represented this. He's basically a continuation of the Authority, right? You would agree with that, right, Ebony? He's like a continuation of the Authority, and he's a heel. He's a heel Authority. So, like, when you see him, you just can't stand his damn guts. You want to boo his ass. But then Elias, like, everybody already loves Elias, but the fact that he did what he did to Baron Corbin, I mean, that's really drawing the line in the sand. So it's like, okay, so now Elias is the babyface here, right? So you get that turn. Meanwhile, you get Drew McIntyre, who does the Claymore kick to Braun Strowman last week. This week, he goes monster hunting again, gives Braun Strowman another Claymore kick. You're like, what the hell? You go into the main event match of the night for Raw. It was for the tag team titles, as Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre were defending them against Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins. This is a lot for me to remember. So if you see me keep touching my head here, again, that's what's cool about this show. Just whatever comes to my mind. Braun Strowman comes back for the retribution, right? So Drew brings the fight, pretty much no avail, really. And didn't Braun Strowman make an announcement? I'm kind of jumping way, way ahead a little bit, but I remember at one point leading up to that tag team main event match, you had Paul Heyman, and God bless Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman had the most difficult job on Monday night. He had to come out, give Roman Reigns his props, but also hype up the Crown Jewel event. And you could hear the crowd kind of turn on Paul Heyman. I mean, they were eating everything that he was putting out there. But once Paul Heyman, Ebony, I'm mad at you. You don't care for Elias. Of course you don't care for Elias. You ain't even put an A in that man's name. You called that man Elias. That sounds like a disease, yo. No, but seriously, yeah, like, Paul Heyman has the task of trying to put over Roman Reigns, but also put over this crown jewel match, this crown jewel event. And you're like, this sucks because you know exactly where Paul Heyman is going. And to hear the fans turn on Paul Heyman just a little bit, it was faint. You could definitely hear the boos. You could definitely hear them. Paul Heyman, like a true professional, though, it does not crack him. He just powers through that. And would you expect anything less? Did you honestly think that Paul Heyman was going to crack under that? No. Paul Heyman has dealt with more hostile crowds than what he was getting Monday night. But to see Braun Strowman come out there and basically go the babyface route and wishing not only Roman Reigns a speedy recovery, but that when he wins the championship, whenever Roman Reigns is ready and he wants a shot at that title, he's got it. And you're like, wow, well, that's a babyface thing of you to do, Braun. Okay. So to see that part in the show and then going into the main event of the night to see Braun Strowman come out chasing after Drew McIntyre once again, you're like, okay, so now you can't help but wonder, okay, well, if this diagnosis didn't go down with Roman Reigns, what exactly was going to be happening with Braun Strowman, Ziggler, McIntyre this week, right? I would love to know what the original blueprint was for that one. But then of all the nights, that night was the night that not only would Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose win the tag titles, but Dean Ambrose would flip his lid and just beat the holy living hell out of Seth Rollins. And that was so freaking beautiful on so many levels. I mean, you couldn't write this any better because, like, when you first see this go down, like me, I'm smiling. I'm actually grinning ear to ear at this. And I'm seeing the faces in the crowd, and I'm just going, I feel your pain because it's like, I get it. You wanted that good go home feel moment. Like, okay, well, even though Roman's out, look at what his brothers were able to do here. They got the tag titles, and all right, yay, we get to go home happy. But like for what WWE did, for them to just really take a step back and just be like, shit, Roman left us with a huge void, and we need to plug these gaps up big time. We need to get people talking. We need to get people invested into the next several batch of weeks of WWE programming. How are we going to do this? And to basically see Dean Ambrose get that mega heat, that was mega, mega heat. I challenge anybody, go back. I'm sure WWE did not edit it. Go back, look at that sequence, those final 4 minutes. You heard people cursing at Dean Ambrose. You heard a lot of bleeping. I mean, WWE tried, but you heard cursing, you heard bleeping, and I loved it. The facial reactions from the crowd, I loved it. Mega heat. I mean, it had that attitude era. Oh my God, what am I watching moment? That was a great moment. Now, some people, WWE, they had that list that came out, the greatest betrayals in WWE history. And they had the audacity to put the Bella Twins betraying Ronda Rousey. We went over that list last week. What was the list again? Number 5 was Bella Twins betraying Ronda Rousey. I think 4 was Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, Barbershop. I think 3 was Chris Jericho's Festival of Friendship. Kevin Owens turned on him. I believe number 2 was Randy Orton. Randy Orton getting dumped by Evolution, and that's actually how they phrased it, which made you wonder, wait a minute, we're talking about a relationship here? Like, what the hell's going on? And number one was, I can't remember what was number 1. You guys got to jog my memory with that top 5 list. I mean, that's pretty good for off the top of my brain. I wish I could remember who was number 1. But I can tell you this, number 1 was not Andre siding with Bobby the Brain Heenan, choosing that over the friendship of the Hulkster. It wasn't Larry Zbyszko betraying Bruno Sammartino. I mean, whoever, it wasn't even Steve Austin joining forces with Vince McMahon and the evil Empire. Seth Rollins was number one, Austin. Seth Rollins betraying the Shield. So let me see. Okay, number 5 was Bella's Ronda. 4 was Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty. 3 was Randy Orton being dumped by. No. 3 was Chris Jericho's Friendship Festival. God damn, that's a tongue twister. 2 was. I just said 2. 2 was, see, that's a tongue twister, man, because it's like you're trying to remember, and I just had the order right. I'll try it one more time. 5 was the Bellas, Ronda Rousey. 4 was Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty. 3 was Randy Orton being dumped by Evolution. 2 was the friendship, the Chris Jericho thing. 1, yeah, Austin. I think that's. I'm just not sure about 2 and 3. I think you need to flip those 2. I think 2 might have been Randy dumped by Evolution. I'm not sure, but regardless, when you look at who's number 1, that whole list is fucking laughable. You're going seriously. But the point that I was making when I was bringing up that list, I'm sorry I spent all that time trying to remember that list. It's like an old man pulling cobwebs. No, the point of me bringing up that list was because fucking what we saw Monday night, like you need to do a revision of that list now. I think you should take off the Bellas, take that off the list, and you can put that moment that we got from Monday Night Raw somewhere, right? Just put it, me personally, if you're going to do a top 5 for like this new era, I say take that Bellas one out and put what Dean Ambrose did to Seth Rollins in there. I mean, one of my all-time favorite movies is Trading Places. Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, right? Look it up. Great fucking movie. You talk about Trading Places. One night, Dean Ambrose just basically becomes like the mega fucking babyface. If Braun Strowman was the mega heel, Dean Ambrose, I said mega babyface, I apologize. Now Dean Ambrose is the mega heel. And Seth Rollins now takes the place of Roman Reigns as the mega baby face. I love that. The question, which is, do I see him being top? Eb, who are you talking about? Which one do I see being top? Yeah, that list, man, that was for just 5. That was pulling cobwebs. But I tell you what, I'm glad that I really should have wrote that down. But honestly, when you start writing stuff after a while, the show's scripted, and I hate being scripted. I really do. I tried doing the scripting stuff the first 2 years that we were on the air. It just didn't feel naturally organic. It just felt like Walter Cronkite reading the fucking news, and I couldn't stand that shit. But that was freaking, I loved it. I loved that episode altogether and what they had established. Seth Rollins, I mean, come on, look, we know Seth Rollins is going to be okay. The fans have been coming around to him for like the past 8 months now. He's been very consistent with a lot of the matches, the music, Burn It Down, putting that little vocal part in there. I mean, the guy has really been connecting more and more with the fans. He really has. The wild card right now is Dean Ambrose. I mean, WWE have put a huge bullseye on Dean Ambrose back. And I think what's going to be a telling tale right now is, will WWE be able to continue to ride this momentum that they had set up for Dean Ambrose? And will Dean Ambrose be able to continue to execute? So, I mean, right now, 2 buddies fighting each other. And Renee Young. Oh, Renee Young. Can I just go back to Renee Young? Renee Young being so silent and everything as all of this is going on. Love that. I love that. Because remember, they're husband and wife. So for her to just be silent during this whole thing. Oh, I love that. And if I'm writing next Monday's Raw, man, at some point between Corey Graves, Michael Cole, I'm leaning more towards Corey being the one to put it out there. Somebody has to have the common sense. If you're in the writing room team, you're putting in there, okay, between Michael Cole, Corey Graves, one of them has to say to Renee Young, did you know Dean was going to do that? You, of all people, know this man inside and out. Did you know he was going to do what he was going to do to Seth Rollins? Like, can you take us through his mindset? Like what's going on? And I want her to just milk the hell out of that. I didn't know. I did. Oh, come on Monday. I'm waiting on that very patiently. I need to see that. I need to see that go down. But that was sweet. That was all sweet. I'm trying to think if there was anything else from Raw that was kind of monumental. By the way, Kurt Angle reading the teleprompter. I cringed looking at that. He was reading the teleprompter clear as day as he was hyping up the Crown Jewel event. I didn't like that for what all he had to say. You're telling me you couldn't just give Kurt Angle bullet points? Seriously? Renee Young on commentary. How do I feel about the commentary? You want me to be honest? This is Renee Young's commentary, and I'm not making fun of her. This is her commentary in a nutshell. Oh my God. Oh, and you just don't know what's going to happen at Evolution when these two girls collide. So very true. I'm curious what is going to happen when these two teams collide. Nothing eventful. That's the whole point that I'm making. She comes off very flat, and I used to hide behind the argument, well, give her time. She's learning the ropes. But then I remember, well, wait a minute. She was doing commentary in NXT, and I would have to rely on you guys a lot more as far as the duration of how long she was doing commentary in NXT. If it was just for a couple of months, then it's kind of like, okay, well, WWE was really able to fine tune that Renee is better served as a backstage commentator and doing the pre and post shows. Those are her strong suits. Talking smack was good as well. But see, what all of those things have in common is that Renee is given her, not her lines, but she's given direction. Whereas the commentary make something happen. Here's your bullet points, but kind of make something happen. And I think if she would have spent much more time doing commentary in NXT, like particularly working with Mauro Ranallo and just having Michael Cole in her ear for like a whole year plus, I think that would have done phenomenally. I got Gino cracking up. Gino's going, that's exactly how she sounds too. It really is. I'm not making fun of her. Like, just go back. Just go back. Guys, like, before you give me a thumbs down and you are a Renee Young fan, look, I love me some Renee Young. She is a cute little button. She is. And she's smart as hell. I think she is going to be, if she wants to, I think she is going to be a face for WWE for many, many years to come. But my challenge to you guys, don't take my word for it. Just go out there, look at her commentary from here on out, and everything that I had said, that's pretty much how she does it. That is her commentary in a nutshell. Not picking on the girl, but that's her commentary in a nutshell. And I'm glad I just looked at the voice recorder here, because for some reason, my recorder, the volume automatically keeps going lower, lower, and lower. That is a weird bug that keeps going on. I don't get that. Of course, we had Degeneration X. They popped up once again, and that was okay. But I'm sorry, I'm more excited to potentially see a Batista versus Triple H than DX versus Brothers of Destruction, or BOD, or as I like to call the Brothers of Destruction, bod. I want your bod. That fucking spray is in my damn head now. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm just not excited. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just not excited for DX and Brothers of Destruction. That does nothing for me whatsoever. Nothing for me whatsoever. Shawn Michaels basically coming back because, as the $1 Million Man says, everybody's got a price. Yeah, Sean's price was met handsomely well, and yeah. Now, the real question that we all need to be asking ourselves right now is what's going on with WWE Crown Jewel? Is it happening in Saudi Arabia? You notice the past 2 weeks now, they've pretty much been going WWE Crown Jewel at WWE Crown Jewel. Well, coming up at WWE Crown Jewel, hey, when I meet you at Crown Jewel, oh, a match just announced for Crown Jewel. Hey, this match is happening at the Crown Jewel event. They don't mention Saudi Arabia anymore. And we've got all these reports that's floating around that's saying that now WWE is kind of like frantically looking for other places to do this event. Like now it's being said they're not even trying to give it to Saudi Arabia. They just kind of want to go elsewhere now. And if you remember what I said on the show last week, I basically had said, look, if WWE tries to back out of their deal, this mega year deal that they have with Saudi Arabia, it's going to cost them because everybody was so like WWE shouldn't do it. They shouldn't do it. They shouldn't go there. Blah 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 blah. But nobody was looking at the financial ramifications if WWE were to back out. Nobody was looking and nobody was talking online except for me and a couple of other guys. I was among the first to say there's going to be legal ramifications if they back out of this deal, and it's going to cost them some serious fettuccine. And now we have financial experts that's jumping out there basically saying, hey, if WWE were to back out of this deal, here's how much money it's going to be costing them. And I want to see if I can actually pull up this article real quick because I want to give this guy a shout out. Let me see if I can. Here we go. Here we go. I've got it. Here we go. I've got it right here for you guys. I got it loading up right now. Bear with me a second here. Let me load this up. And no, not that one. Give me this one. Okay. So just the bullet points. If WWE decide to cancel Crown Jewel or move its location, marinate on this now. If WWE decides to cancel Crown Jewel or move its location, you got Wall Street analyst Eric Handler of MKM Partners. He's estimating that it could result in a $2 to $3 million hit to WWE's fourth quarter cash flow. Also, according to Handler, if WWE decides to go ahead and completely pull out of their deal with Saudi Arabia, it could cost WWE $12 to $16 million in 2019 operating income. Since the WWE has been quiet about the situation, as far as Eric Handler is concerned, he believes that they are still considering moving the event. And then you also got these reports surfacing that John Cena is now saying, no, I'm not interested in doing Crown Jewel if it's going to be in Saudi Arabia. If it's going to be anywhere else, sure, I'll go. But if it's going to be in Saudi Arabia, I'm not interested. And everybody is just, here's an idea. Let me knock out two birds with one stone. First, let's talk about just the financial. Like I told you guys, I was here on this show just last week saying, look at the ramifications. You got to think business. You've got to put your business cap on. If you go into a deal with somebody, paperwork is going to get signed. And if you breach that contract, there will be legal ramifications. So you have to think about those ramifications, right? And now here we have from a Wall Street analyst, a Wall Street expert that's saying, look, I did the math. This is how much it's going to cost the WWE. That's a lot of money for them to be losing. I know some people are like, yeah, but Lee, they've got that deal with Fox. They can, no, man, they want to keep all that money. They want to keep all that money. They just like us black people. They just like us black people. And I ain't putting my people down. I'm speaking the truth. Any type of money we get, it don't matter how rich we are. We got to cough up how much? Yeah, I don't really think I want to be coughing up that much. Can we do a little less than that? Seriously. And I like what Courtney is saying in the chat. What's up, Courtney? How you doing, darling? With a country as high risk as Saudi Arabia, there has to be an out clause in the contract. I agree. I agree. Seriously. I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, the fact that the tickets still have not sold for this Crown Jewel event, tickets should have went on sale. Like, I mean, this event is coming up very, very shortly, and tickets are still not for sale yet. So, I mean, this is a telling tale. Now, let me talk about this whole John Cena thing, right? Everybody's going, oh, John Cena, oh, reports say, oh, blah, 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 blah. Well, this is what I don't understand. All these people that are in this position where they can interview John Cena, most recently, the woman from the Today Show. I'm tempted to say her name is Huba Skank. I know that's not her name, but she's got like this weird, funny ass name. I'm sure I just made some people roll after I said that. But in all seriousness, she most recently had interviewed John Cena. So what I don't understand is John Cena has been making his rounds, doing interviews left and right. Why hasn't somebody had the common sense to ask about Crown Jewel? I've yet to come across a transcript where some of the interviews John Cena has given recently, he's been asked about Crown Jewel. And I don't know if that's maybe a situation where his PR people are telling them, hey, Crown Jewel can't talk about. But I would like to believe that with the news that John Cena is putting his foot down, supposedly, here's my challenge to you guys that's part of the media. I mean, myself included, and I'll eat these words. I'll do it first thing in the morning. Why not fucking go right to the source and ask, hey, John, any truth to this? Are you, even if he gives you some type of a half, at least you can say, hey, went straight to the man himself. This is what he said. So everything right now, I would say to you guys, is just hearsay. I mean, the fact that he has not said anything on social media yet, uh, I don't know. I don't know. I think Cena is still in there, but we'll just have to wait and see what comes about. But look, you already know how I feel about the whole Saudi Arabia thing. I personally feel that WWE should not be doing it. At the same time, somebody as myself that is, not just working a full-time job, but speaking as somebody that also has my own respected business, my own business that I'm getting ready to make a LLC and everything. That would be, and I think for most people, that would be really hard to walk away from a deal like that and the ramifications. That would be really, really, really hard. It's funny because I see so many people that, well, I would never, and it's like you don't really know. You don't really know until you're in that position. I'm telling you, man, when you are in certain positions in life, what you think you would not do, you do the opposite. That's just how it is. That is just how it is, right? And for me personally, I said it last week, I'll say it again. I don't know if it's happened yet. And the fact that we're this far along and there's been no reports yet, which is what's going on with the locker room. Has there been a meeting with the locker room to gauge their level? Do they want to do this in this country or do they want to go elsewhere? Have they been given that opportunity? We've yet to hear anything like that. We've yet to hear anything like that. And that I find that alarming. I really do, especially when so many stars have been very outspoken. Yeah, we've heard from the JBLs. Nice to hear Randy Orton say something, but when it counts the most, the Daniel Bryans, the AJ Styles, the Samoa Joes, the Seth Rollins, the Dean Ambroses, we haven't heard anything from them. Because you would like to believe that if these guys collectively would all say something in a joint statement, even at that, not just let it be a one person deal, if it was just a joint statement, you would like to believe that, okay, these guys, this is how they feel. And that would basically open up the door for the other talents to say something. But the fact that we're so far along right now and nothing has been said, you can either look at that as alarming or you could look at that as, well, you know what? They're kind of on the same page with the company, apparently. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But I really hope that somebody in the media, and I'll definitely, I mean, I am part of the media. I do break my own little respected news from time to time. I will eat my own words. I will actually, Tammy's my PR. Sometimes I act as PR, but Tammy's mainly the PR. I mean, she actually works public relations in real life. So I will see if maybe we can get something from John Cena. I don't know. Maybe we can get some type of a statement from his people. And if not, at least I can definitely say, hey, I try to go straight to the source. I ain't get nothing. I would rather that than just assume. I that's the message I want to send to you guys right now. Don't assume. Don't assume, right? Always challenge what you see and hear. Always stick to those 5 W's. As long as you stick to those 5 W's, your information will be accurate every single time. Who, what, when, where, why. Yes. Who, what, when, where, and why. You thought how was in there, didn't you? No, it wasn't. All right, let's do this. See what other topics can we get into before we get ready to wrap it up. So Courtney is saying she's hearing that it may take place in Albany, New York at the Times Union Center. Manchester Arena is listing a WWE show on Saturday. They might be moving it there possibly as well. I don't know. That's to be continued. To be continued. All right. Meanwhile, see here. How are we doing on the showtime here? That ain't too bad. That ain't too bad. And how's the recorder here? Let me look at the recorder here. How long we been on the air here? Oh, I don't feel bad. Okay. I'll tell you what, guys. I'm gonna get into one more topic. Let me look at how many other topics I got here. We did that. We did that. Mm, we did that. Okay. So I actually talked about it more on 30 with Lee. That's actually going to be dropping on Patreon this week. Like I said at the top, while I was out in PA for the retreat, it was a nice resort too, by the way. I'll share some pictures with you guys tomorrow. Just got to pull them off my phone and everything. Or actually, I'll tweet the pictures out in a little bit of video tomorrow. But while I was at the resort over the weekend, I did record a bunch of audio. So I got a 30 with Lee that's ready to go. I just got to upload it, make some quick edits. I talked about the cancellation of Luke Cage. So for those of you that's kind of like, Lee, what's your thoughts about Luke Cage being canceled? What I'll do, because I ended up talking about, I can't even remember the movie right now that I had reviewed. You guys got to forgive me, but it'll come to me when I least expect it. But I had talked about the movie and then I talked about the Luke Cage news. What I'll do is I'll make the Luke Cage excerpt, I'll make that be available on YouTube. If you are a fan or ever were a fan of The Walking Dead, now is the time to start watching the show because they are counting it down now. Basically, they have begun a 3-story arc that began this past weekend with regards to Andrew Lincoln's Rick Grimes character. This is it. Rick Grimes has 2 more episodes, and that's it. I don't know how they're gonna, they're going to kill off the character because it's already been established that Andrew Lincoln will not be coming back to The Walking Dead, or at least that's what we've been told. Andrew Lincoln's like, it's time for me to be with my family, and there's these other opportunities that I've always wanted to take a detour and go to other endeavors I've wanted to tap into. So you're hearing this and you're kind of going, damn, what's going to happen here? I like what's going on. It's been a really strong season so far, and just the vibes that I've been getting right now, it really comes off as though, I hope I'm wrong. I would like to believe that the Rick Grimes character will not be killed, but I'm sincerely getting the vibe that his character will die. And in the process, Negan will rise once again. I don't think it's going to be a situation where Rick gets bit. I mean, all of these years and just how tactical he's always been, I don't think he's going to get bit. I think the only way Rick could get bit that I could see happening legitimately, Rick has to be like barricaded in some type of a room, and there's only one freaking exit, and that's it. Like Rick Grimes is fucked. There's only one exit, and it's just him, a bunch of zombies. There's no windows that he could climb up to. There's no ladders. There's nothing he could climb up on. Like Rick is just fucked that way. I just am not. I don't think he's gonna go out like that. I think there's gonna kind of like be a Caesar type of thing. You know how Caesar's life tragically ended, right? You know, his own people betrayed him in the end. I think something's gonna happen like that. Maybe Rick is in the process. Like, if it were me writing it, I would have there be some type of a situation where maybe they were shorthanded on manpower for something, whether it's taking food to the hilltop or something that makes Rick say, Okay, I know we're short staffed right now. We got to get that bridge up. All right, I will do this. I got this, no problem." And maybe somebody tries to go with him and he's like, "No, no, 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 no. It's okay. Like, you helped them with the bridge. I really need you more here." But like, somebody says to him, "No, like, really, you should take somebody with you." And maybe like, not a important character, but like maybe two jabronis go with him. And I say jabronis because these people, they're gonna die off basically. I think it's gonna be a situation where Rick is gonna be on his way somewhere and he's gonna be ambushed in the process. He's able to fight off the ambush, but it's gonna come at a cost. I think he's gonna be severely injured, and whatever method of transportation that he was using, like, that's no more, and so he's basically gonna have to like go walk for help. I don't know if maybe it's a situation where he's bleeding out, but I don't see him getting killed off like that. I don't see that happening. Let's see. Let me get into, all right, so that's that. I already told you my plans for Luke Cage. I talked about that. I talked about that. I'm gonna make that be a YouTube excerpt. Okay, let's get into the evolution card for Sunday. I mean, that's the least thing I can do, right? I can give you guys my picks, and that's it, right? Because again, I'm not doing the evolution after show. That should be Ebony, assuming she's healthy. That should be her and Tammy. That's going to be doing the after show. If I do decide to do an evolution after show, it's exclusively just going to be for Patreons. It'll run about 15-30 minutes. You ain't going to be able to access it anywhere else. Let's get into the evolution card here. So let's load this up. I've heard a little bit of the matches that were announced, and I was kind of like, okay, this is actually pretty good. I like this. But now we have a really good idea of how this card is going to be looking. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about some of these matches here. And it sucks that every single time you type in WWE Evolution, you keep getting the stable, but go figure. All right, so it is happening at the Nassau Coliseum. We got 8 matches so far. Sasha Banks, Bailey, Natalia will be taking on the Riot Squad 6-woman tag team match. Riot Squad. I'm sorry, man, but I got like this serious fucking crush on Ruby Riot right now. She is hot, man. She is the Jessica Jones of the WWE. I have been dubbing her that for months now. I think she's freaking awesome. But no, like I saw Liv Morgan at the receiving end of some losses within the past several weeks and everything. And if there's one thing I would really like for there to be established out of this pay-per-view event, I would love for basically Ruby Riott to get over in such a way where I'm not saying eventually she could face Ronda Rousey for the title, but like I'm just realistically asking myself, okay, well, once you get past Nikki Bella, what is next for Ronda Rousey? Like, who's going to be that next antagonist for her, right? I'm not really sure if fans really want to see a Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey twice. You feel where I'm coming from? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Ruby Riott far as the Raw side of things. Bliss is always in the rearview mirror. Bliss can get right back in the picture in no time, but if we're kind of gonna do a little bit of an MMA twist to Ronda Rousey, it's like keep giving her new fresh opponents and everything, then I'm looking at Ruby Riott and I'm kind of going, when? When is it going to be her time to not necessarily get the title? Understand something? I'm not saying she needs to get the title. I'm just saying as far as being elevated to that next level, I love everything that Ruby has been doing in that ring, in and out, week after week, right? So not only would I like to see the Riot Squad go over in this 6-woman tag match, but I would like to see some type of hints being dropped that the Riot Squad, they're looking at bigger things that they want to accomplish closing out 2019, and that basically involves that women's title. We got the women's battle royal. That's going to be a battle royal for the women's championship. Now, notice what I had said. I said with regards to Ruby Riott, I eventually want to see her, but you do have a women's battle royal. It's going to be for the women's championship match. Who are the participants in that one? I know we've got Molly Holly. What's the names for that one? You know, we gotta look that one up because I need to know what's going on with the names there. Let's see if we can look that up. Female battle royal, and I'll just say evolution. See if we know. Okay, here we go. See if we can get the card here. Let's see. Because I know they announced Ivory. They announced Molly Holly. Here we go. I got the list, guys. I'm good. All right. So we have Asuka, Naomi, Carmella, Nia Jax, Amber Moon, Alicia Fox. By the way, side note, when Alicia Fox had approached Mickey James and Trish Stratus backstage, did anybody else think that was RuPaul? I sure as hell thought that was RuPaul, and then I did a double take and realized it was Alicia Fox. Dana Brooke, Lana, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Tamina, Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Alondra Blaze, Ivory, Molly Holly, Kelly Kelly, Maria Kanellis, Zelina Vega. Man, only thing missing from this is Jazz, Victoria. Who else is missing from here? Gail Kim, Winter. She's in TNA. She just popped up again. AJ Lee. Those are only other names that's missing from this. If I just got a deal, I'm sure there's going to be some more surprises, some more surprise names that they're kind of holding off from. But if I were to just deal with this list as it is, and they get a championship match, right? Ooh, and you're pretty much setting up Survivor Series, yeah. I would like to see, looking at this list. Damn, I wish Ruby Riott was on here. You know, one name jumps out at me. Nia Jax. I would love to see another Ronda Rousey Nia Jax match. Nia Jax best outing to date since she has just been in the WWE period, including her tenure in NXT. Her best match was against Rondo. And I mean, you got Survivor Series coming up. I personally would love to see those two girls throw it down at Survivor Series. Trying to see who could be an honorable mention. Just going off of this list. No. That would be interesting. That would be very, very interesting. That's a wild card, though. I'm looking at Tamina. You want to talk about, because see, the way my brain works, it's okay, who can benefit from it? Who can you build this around? Tamina just coming back, right? I mean, she had that injury, long extended period of time. Yeah, you could do some stuff with a Tamina, freaking Nia, not Nia Jax. You could do some stuff with a Tamina Ronda Rousey program. That would be very interesting, I think. Sonya Deville, I see some names for Sonya Deville. Jacqueline, I miss Jacqueline. I do miss that Southern Belle. Let me look at that list again, because somebody said Sonya Deville. Let me look at that again. Sonya Deville. Here's the thing, though, that you guys got to remember, which is whoever wins, most likely they're going to be going after the championship for that respected brand, right? So Sonya Deville, if I'm not mistaken, that's a SmackDown girl because she usually comes out with Mandy Rose. So I hope you're considering that whoever's going to be winning this, because I think as far as the SmackDown real estate goes, Charlotte and Becky, I think they're going to ride that to maybe Survivor Series. I don't think things are going to be ending at the last woman standing match, and I'll get to that in a little bit. I don't think it's going to be Sonya Deville, though. I don't think she would be good. She would be good, though. On a personal tip, she would be good. Let's look at the rest of it. No, so I'm going to stick with Tamina. Yeah, I'm gonna say Tamina or possibly Nia Jax. Look at the rest of the card here. Trish Stratus, Lita taking on Alexa Bliss, Mickey James tag team match. Damn. Trish Lita. Trish Lita. I gotta go with Trish and Lita. Io Shari taking on Tony Storm. I love the hell out of the Mae Young Classic this year. I love this tournament more than last year. Would you always remember the first? It's the 2018 Mae Young Classic Tournament Finals match. Oh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. Two of my favorites. Io Shari, I've known about her off and on over the years. Tony Storm, I just came on to within the past 2 years, and I've been really loving her stuff. Oh man. Io Shari. That's a reluctant one too. Io Shari, I gotta go with her. Rhea Ripley, to be determined. Singles match for the UK Women's Championship. What the hell is to be determined? What the hell is there to be determined? Am I missing something? Is there a tournament I don't know about? Let me look at what's going on here. 16 women. What the hell is that? I don't get that. Yeah, that makes no sense. Somebody clue me in on that. What the hell is that about? Rhea Ripley versus to be determined. Singles match for the NXT UK Women's Championship. What the hell is to be determined? That I don't get that one. I guess Rhea Ripley. I guess I'll go with her. I wish I knew who her opponent was. Do we know who her opponent is? Somebody let me know in the chat. Kari Sane is going to take on Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. I love Shayna. Man, damn, that's a tough one. I'm sorry, guys. That's a tough one for me. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Oh man, Shayna. No. God damn, that's a tough one, guys. I'm sorry. That is a tough one. Shayna Baszler, that's final. Shayna Baszler. Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, last woman standing match, SmackDown Women's title. Becky. Becky's too white hot right now. Yeah, Becky. Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella. Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella for the Raw Women's title. This should be obvious, right? This should be obvious. But what if the Bella twins tried to pull some twin magic, man? What if they tried to pull some twin magic? I don't know, guys. I seriously don't know. I could just picture the massive amounts of people that would be pissed if Nikki Bella wins that goddamn Raw Women's title. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think they may try to do a little bit of twin magic, but I don't think it's going to work successfully. I think it may backfire. I think we're going to see a case of twin magic. If I was booking this match, I think we're going to see a case of twin magic, but the twin magic is going to backfire and Ronda's going to end up pinning or making Brie tap out. And so Ronda will retain that way, but Nikki can definitely come right back out and be like, hey, look, even though we did twin magic and everything, and hey, referee's fault if he doesn't know us apart, if he can't tell us apart, but you didn't beat me. I think these two girls are going to continue on for one more pay-per-view. I don't think it's just a one-off deal. Many people hope it would be a one-off deal, considering Nikki Bella got the screwed up neck and all that, and that ain't no Kurt Angle there, okay? Yeah, she did blah, blah, blah with a broken freaking neck. Some of the stuff that she did that resulted in her neck being broken, you can say, and whose fault is that? Because in some cases, you weren't smart about how you were doing some of those moves in the ring, some of them spots. Different topic for another time. All right, so once again, tag team matchup. I'm going with the Riot Squad over Banks, Bailey, Natty. Women's Battle Royal. I'm giving 2 nods. My first pick, Nia Jax. If not Nia, then Tamina. Trish and Lita will go over Bliss and James. Io Shirai defeats Toni Storm in the 2018 Mae Young Classic Tournament final. I got Rhea Ripley retaining the UK title. Like, even though we don't know who her opponent is going to be, does anybody else know? I'm looking in the chat. Nobody knows what's going on with her. So, Ebony, yes, I've always thought that about Shayna Baszler. I've always thought that. No bull. I always thought that. They do look like they could be twins, yo. See, what's the next matchup? I said Io Shirai over. Yeah, we did that. Rhea Ripley. I got her retaining. I just wish I knew who her opponent was. Kairi Sane. Sorry, I got Shayna Baszler defeating her for the NXT Women's Championship. Becky Lynch, I got her retaining the title in the last man standing match for the SmackDown Women's title. Rondo will win, but look out for twin magic. I think it's going to be a case of twin magic. Rondo will think she beat Nikki, but it's actually Brie that she had beat. But that's how I'm looking at it. I like some of the picks that you guys are going with as well. Some of you guys a little bit evened up on some of those joints. A little bit evened up. I like that. That's good. All right. So other than that, am I missing anything else? I mean, we're not really missing anything from tonight's SmackDown, right? There's nothing really to go over. I mean, Rey Mysterio had a great match up there with The Miz. That was pretty solid. Randy Orton, Jeff Hardy, they went at it in the main event match. That was pretty solid. I like that beatdown that they had show that went about at the Performance Center over the weekend. Charlotte getting her ass whooped by Becky Lynch. Laughed my ass off at that. That was a hilarious spot. We're really not missing anything else. I think that's it, guys. We can stick a fork in it and call it DONE done. All right. So Patreon members, I'll have some content coming you all's way this Wednesday. I've got the audio already recorded, ready to go. I will upload at this point 30 with Lee. I'll upload that as soon as I get in from work because I'm pretty much free after I get in. Wednesday night on. So I'll upload that for you guys. You guys should have that probably way before 8 o'clock Eastern. Okay. And we'll do the Evolution pay-per-view event. That'll come at you guys Sunday. We will, do make note of this. The Evolution after show is going to be streaming live audio only live audio. So you'll be able to access the live stream on Spreaker. So make sure you check out the links below. And if you can't join us live, make sure you use all the links that's available in the episode description so you can check it out on demand, downloads for your favorite listening devices, platforms, and all that. And that's going to do it. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. Just started doing the Instagram TV thingamajigga too. Shout out to Ebony. Shout out to Gino. Shout out to the Beep Jr. Shout out to Reese. Shout out to Shaba, Mr. Lover, man. Shaba. Who else we got in here? Shout out to Courtney. Can't forget about Courtney. Shout out to who else we got in here? Austie. Who else we got in here? Who else we got in here, man? Give my shout outs out, man. Who else we got in here? Who else we got in here? I know I'm missing one other person. That's why I keep going. Shout out to Mark. No, I missed somebody. Shout out to Mark. Who else we got in here, man? Shout out to Gino. Gino, appreciate that $1 super chat, my friend. Good fella. Good fella. Mr. Lava, man. Shaba. Let's see who else we got in here. I think we got everybody. Yeah. And if I didn't get you, I do apologize. Won't you be my friend? Please hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on all the great content that comes your way on a weekly basis. Hit the bell notification too down below. That way you always know about new content. Like as soon as it's uploaded and it's live, you automatically know about it. Those of you waiting for the audio, give me about 30 minutes tops. All I got to do is just splice in the intro, outro, magnifico, and it'll be good to go. And that's going to do it. If you guys want to keep me company for a little bit, Ebony, you can definitely text me if you want. Everybody else, you can get at me on Twitter at the RCWR Show. I'm actually going to be up for a little bit rendering the web stream for the guys at Fight TV. So if you want to keep me up, talk some shit, no problem. All right, so we'll catch you this weekend for the Evolution after show. Okay, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good jazz. All right, guys, much love. And as I end the show every single week, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another, and may the good news be yours. Adios.